This lesson we're going to talk about the two different types of PowerPoint that we see, one of which is what I call the traditional PowerPoint, and then there's the other more in-depth self-study PowerPoint that can be used generally for, or you generally see it used in online classes. It works really well there, and also any type of self-study standalone type of topics. My name is Kelly Kirk, and let's get started. So, here is the first PowerPoint we're going to talk about. This is the traditional PowerPoint. And with the traditional PowerPoint, what you see is some type of, generally a visual aid to help with the instructor, gives the students something to look at. But more than anything, what this PowerPoint is used for is to keep the instructor on task. It gives the visual aid to the students, something for the students to see. And as you can see, it has one or two words and one or two bullets on each slide. There's a bunch of different research and different rules for PowerPoints, everything from like a 5-5 rule to a 2-3 rule, 3-2 rules. There's several different rules that are out there, and whatever rules you choose to go by is completely up to you. I'm not going to endorse one rule over the other for a traditional PowerPoint. But basically this one is used such that the instructor pulls it up. It has just a brief piece of information for each slide or for each bullet point, and then the instructor will then expound upon those different topics. Now with that, you can also, let me close this down here and I'll pull up the PowerPoint itself, and what you see is down in the bottom you can add your notes. So this is an area that your notes are in there, so basically the things that you want to talk about and the expanded version can be added to those notes. Different types of PowerPoints, the newer versions of PowerPoint now actually allow you to have a presenter view, so that what you're doing is presenting and the students will see the original PowerPoint just like this, and then what the instructor sees is a completely separate PowerPoint and another piece that looks similar to this. And this way I can see what information's coming up, and I can also see the notes that I have for this particular slide. So that is again a traditional PowerPoint. So in this particular case, it's difficult for your self-studied learners to be able to look at this and know when you talk about the coaching duties. They include organizing phone calls, ordering, and orchestrating. And the presenter would then stand up and say, all right, let's talk a little bit about coaching duties. Now, one of the duties, some of the duties that the coaches have include organizing phone calls, ordering, and orchestrating. In the organizing area, the coach is responsible for organizing the team and the travel and keeping everything together with that. He's also responsible for making phone calls to enter the team into the tournament, calling all the players or the families to notify them of the tournament and the game times and those kind of things. And then he goes on and on about the ordering. Then the instructor would then go on and on about the different areas here. And that is, again, your traditional PowerPoint. So moving to the more non-traditional, the PowerPoint that is for self-study, works really well for online classes. This PowerPoint includes much more information, detailed information. So basically what it involves is all of the didactic portion, because obviously if you're self-studying, you're going to be reading the slides. So the slides have more information. Rather than one or two bullet points, you end up with more information, entire sentences, things are still broke out, so it makes it a little easier to read in the way that people read like in an online format, but it still has more detailed information. So as you can see, here's organizing the team. Coaching duties are making phone calls to enter the team. And if I move us back, organizing, phone calls, ordering. This one is cleaner, but again is used more specifically for the classroom settings. And then you have this type of PowerPoint that has the more detailed information. So this one would generally be used in an online format, again, for self-study. One of the things that you can do with this, you can provide voiceover as in this particular presentation, but what you would do is just have the voiceover read the information here. And what that does, it does a couple of different things. One of which it provides, it helps with ADA because the information that is on the slide is exactly what is being read over. So for people that are hearing impaired, you don't have to provide a separate transcript because a transcript is the slide. Now, another option for doing like a voiceover would be to use this particular PowerPoint, the traditional PowerPoint, but what you do is your transcript would be the information that's written down here in your notes section. Again, this is PowerPoint 2016 that you're looking at right here. So if I reduce that and change it down to a traditional, or if I escape out of that and show you the guts of the presentation, if you would, then this is how a traditional PowerPoint that would potentially be read and voiced over in a online world. Sometimes you'll see that. You'll see where the traditional has gone in and they've been voiced over. It's always best if you provide the transcript for the voiceover. This works for a couple of different purposes too, one of which is to provide your voice talent the transcript and the information for them to read, but again, it also gives you the opportunity to pull this information and add it with ADA compliance. So again, two different types of PowerPoints. You have the traditional PowerPoint as you see here. You have the self-study or the online type, which is here. The difference, the traditional PowerPoint has one or two bulleted items, one or two words per bullet, and it's designed so the instructor can stand up and read from each one of these slides. And it keeps the instructor on task, but he or she does not have all the detailed jumbled up information. Whereas with the more self-studied PowerPoint, has more information per slide, and each bulleted item has more information to allow the learner who is reading the presentation or reading the PowerPoint to gain the information that's not provided in a single bulleted item like this. Hope you've learned something. Again, that's the two types of PowerPoints. Again, I'm Kelly Kirk, and with the President and CEO of 911 eLearning. And follow us, find us on Facebook, 911elearning.com. You can also find us on Facebook at 911 eLearning.